Vuejs is a front-end JavaScript framework where you can use JavaScript with HTML, CSS in order to build front-end websites. So these are single-page applications. So all the things will be amazing to load. And main thing about this particular single-page application is whenever you are changing some kind of file or you are doing some operation, entire website won't be loaded. Only that particular component will be loaded in this particular thing. So once you are familiar with HTML, CSS, and little bit of JavaScript, you can jump into this framework in order to build more amazing and better websites. So if you just want to build one single landing page, then it's fine. You can go ahead and use HTML, CSS and build it. But if you're building something like maybe like one social network or maybe some kind of business application, then it's always preferred to use these kind of single page applications. React, Angular and some other frameworks are some alternative to this Vue.js. But I would highly recommend you to get started with Vue.js because it has lots of amazing functionality which is little bit tough to implement in all the other frameworks which I mentioned right now. So in other framework, some things will be tough to create. For example, in React, doing something like if-else statement when you are rendering some kind of button, it's very tough to do. Whereas in Vuejs, you can do it very easily using VIF and VElse, and doing all the looping and all is also easier in Vuejs compared to maybe React or even Angular. So that would be the one of the important feature which I really like about it because I have used React for so many things and doing this like if else condition and doing all the other condition, it is not built into this particular React. Whereas in Vuejs, we can do it very easily and manipulating all the DOM as well as interface is very much easier in this particular Vue framework than React. And moreover, Vue.js ecosystem is so good with the Next.js, that is Vue.js backend framework. So in order to build one full stack web application with the backend as well as front end features, it's better to use something like Next.js where you'll be able to build SEO optimized full-fledged backend server side application. And moreover, Vue.js ecosystem is so good with the Next.js, that is Vue.js backend framework. Next.js is so good. One example I would like to give you is in React and all the other frameworks, you have to import everything in every component in order to use it. But whereas in Next.js, you don't need to import anything. So it saves lots of time. If you create some new component in a specific folder, you don't need to import in any file. You can directly use it, and this particular thing saves lots of time. Yes, VS Code will auto import lots of files, but it will be still hectic because it will be taking lots of space in your start of the page. So it will be messy, and if something goes wrong or if you delete some kind of file, it will be tough to remove it and do all those things. Whereas in Next.js, everything is managed and you don't need to import anything, and it will handle it pretty nice because I have built 2-3 production level Next.js project and it will be so good to use, and this particular feature is really good. And also state management is very easy to use, whereas in React you have to use something like Redux or some other context API or something like that. It's always messy and you have to do lots of things in order to configure it. Whereas in Vue.js, there is something called as Pinya, and this particular Pinya is so simple to use and you'll be able to understand it. You don't need to create so many boilerplate. Using one file, you'll be able to manage pretty much everything in the state management, and you'll be able to use it amazingly. And it works really good also. Whereas Redux, you have to manage lots of things, and as a beginner, you won't even be able to understand how does this particular Redux or a context API actually works. So there are lots of options available in order to learn in the front end. There is React, there is Angular, there is Svelte, and there are so many other frameworks. But I would highly recommend you to learn Vue.js because it's really nice framework. And if you already have knowledge about React and all, just try to use Vue.js. And with Next.js, if you try it, it will be very easy to get started and work with all the things. So that's why just give it a try. You might like it. If you don't like it, then absolutely fine. You can continue using whatever the framework you want to use. But if you're a beginner, then it's easy to get started with this particular framework. And there is nothing like if you learn Vue.js, you won't be able to learn some other framework and you won't be able to get a job in that. It's always possible. And these are just front-end framework which uses JavaScript. So that's why there is no much change in what they actually do in this particular thing. So it's just that Vue.js makes it very easy to work with, and you will be able to build amazing website very fast using Vuejs. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.